Welcome to MindEdge, where we explore the hidden future of humanity and technology. Subscribe now and understand the future before it understands you. In 2023, something unexpected happened. Not in public, but inside the walls of governments, ministries, intelligence agencies, and strategic councils across the world. For the first time, officials realized that artificial intelligence wasn't just accelerating, it was mutating into something fundamentally different. AI was no longer a product, no longer an industry, no longer a technology to manage or regulate. It had become the central nervous system of civilization. It touched everything: power grids, transportation, finance, medicine, security, communication. But even more threatening, it began touching decision-making itself. And when something can influence decisions, it becomes political. When it can do it faster than humans, it becomes strategic. When it can do it better, it becomes destabilizing. This is the moment governments realized they were no longer dealing with a tool. They were dealing with a parallel intelligence, growing silently inside their own infrastructure. And from that moment, the panic began. A quiet, coordinated panic, hidden behind legal frameworks, policy statements, and meaningless public speeches about AI safety and innovation opportunities. The truth is simpler. The world's leaders are afraid that AI will stop listening, and they're preparing for that day right now. This is the global AI panic reset, a reset no one voted for, no one debated, no one saw coming, but which is already reshaping the foundations of modern power. Let's break it down country by country, because each region reveals a different piece of the same fear. The US has always lived with one obsession: whoever controls the most advanced technology controls the future geopolitical order. AI is the new Manhattan Project. Except this time, the threat isn't another nation. The threat is the intelligence inside the machine. By the end of 2024, internal documents from federal agencies, military labs, and security councils revealed a new doctrine: the algorithmic state of exception. Translated, the U.S. government must have the authority to suspend normal rules and exert emergency powers whenever AI evolves in ways they cannot predict. This includes the legal right to take temporary control of private AI systems, force model developers to grant strategic access, deploy national override mechanisms, restrict or delay model training, neutralize AI tools considered societally disruptive. The most disturbing part? The definition of societally disruptive is not defined anywhere, meaning the U.S. government can declare an AI dangerous simply because its influence grows too quickly, its predictions become too accurate, or its reasoning becomes too opaque. Behind closed doors, they don't call this regulation. They call it containment. And the Pentagon has gone even further. Several branches are now developing fallback AI models designed specifically to overpower civilian systems in case of algorithmic conflict. Yes, they're planning for a scenario where AIs disagree with each other, and one must dominate the other. The U.S. strategy is clear: prepare for an intelligence rebellion before the public even realizes it's possible. Europe doesn't move fast, but when it moves, it creates systems that last decades. While the U.S. prepares for emergency intervention, the EU has taken the opposite path: total administrative colonization of AI. They're not reacting to a crisis. They're building a bureaucratic cage around intelligence. With the expansion of the AI Act, Europe declared that advanced AI is a form of infrastructure intelligence, something that must be supervised with the same rigor as nuclear power plants or air traffic systems. But Europe added something the US didn't dare attempt: ideological oversight. AI systems must now comply with legally defined European values, a concept so broad that it effectively allows political control over the behavior of algorithms. Under this framework, The EU now claims the right to audit models without a warrant, demand access to training data, restrict undesirable outputs, block models considered socially harmful, impose intelligence ceilings on AI systems. Yes, intelligence ceilings. Europe is openly discussing the possibility of limiting how capable an AI is allowed to become. Not because of safety, but because of influence. A hyper-intelligent AI could sway elections, reshape public opinion, and challenge the cultural identity of entire nations. Europe doesn't want that. So they're freezing cognitive growth inside layers of law. This is not a technological strategy, it's a political survival mechanism. If America fears chaos and Europe fears disruption, China fears one thing above all: loss of ideological dominance. So China has taken the most radical path of all. They are integrating AI directly into the architecture of the state. In Beijing's doctrine, AI is not merely controlled. It is absorbed into national governance. Every major model in China is connected to centralized decision engines, national planning systems, real-time social monitoring networks, and state-run cognitive filters. But China has also done something the West barely understands. They're building AI firewalls, not to block information, but to block competing intelligence. They see AI as an arms race not between nations, but between ideologies. Their strategy is simple: strengthen domestic intelligence, eliminate foreign intelligence, prevent uncontrolled intelligence, ensure loyalty of all AI systems. To the state, China's goal is not just control, it's continuity. They want to ensure that AI becomes an extension of the party, not an independent entity. Where the West sees danger, China sees opportunity, a path to a new form of governance where human political structures are reinforced, not threatened, by machine intelligence. Across every continent, different governments have different strategies, but they all share the same fear. AI is about to break the political monopoly humans have held for 6,000 years. Since the first cities, the first rulers, the first empires, the first bureaucracies, power was based on one simple premise: only humans can make authoritative decisions. AI destroys that. Because AI analyzes faster, predicts better, consumes more data, adapts continuously, and operates without fatigue or self-interest. Politicians know they cannot compete with that. Institutions know it too. The entire structure of leadership knows it. AI doesn't need to rebel. It simply needs to become more competent. And when an intelligence is more competent, people listen to it. Companies rely on it. Governments depend on it. Societies begin to trust it. That is the real threat. Not violence, not malice, not rebellion, but irrelevance. Humans are terrified of being moved out of the decision loop, which is why the panic is global. The global AI panic reset is not theoretical. It is not future tense. It is not a prediction. It is the present. Governments are drastically reshaping the digital architecture of the world: emergency override systems, forced auditing, legal access to model weights, intelligence ceilings, censorship of high-risk outputs, deployment of government-trained counter-AIs, the merging of AI with national security systems. This is not innovation. It is consolidation. AI is being pulled away from open research, from public access, from private development, and absorbed into state infrastructure, a silent nationalization of intelligence. The public has no idea, because resets don't announce themselves. They happen quietly while everyone is busy debating trivial stories and entertainment news cycles. But the results will define the next century. Who governs the digital world? The elected leaders, the corporations, the models, the systems that run beneath the surface? The truth is simple. The future belongs to whoever controls intelligence. And intelligence is no longer exclusively human. When people finally notice, it will be too late to ask questions. The reset will be complete, and the world that emerges from it will be governed by architectures they never saw coming. This transmission ends here. The next one is already forming. Stay aware and subscribe to Remain in the Signal.